Hi guys, welcome to the 2 weeks web development bootcamp. Today happens to be the fifth day of the 2 weeks web development bootcamp. So, yesterday, which was the fourth day, we looked at grouping and combining selectors in CSS. Hold on, let me accept this person. So, we looked at combining and grouping selectors. We looked at common properties like color, background color, font size, and all. We looked at color. We looked at adding background image and all of these. Those are the things we looked at in our last class, and we're able to even build something. We're able to build something nice with it, like a Nigerian flag. Yeah. So today we are going to be looking at CSX box model. We are also going to look at pseudo class selector. Yeah, these are the things we are going to look at today. And we'll also look at some properties in CSS like width, height. Yes, width and height. And if I still have enough time, we should be able to look at absolute and relative unit. So by the end of today's class, we are going to build this. We are going to build this simple black goose bistros and which other one. Then we also build this table web page here. We'll build this web page. So build these two web page today. So all right, let's move on. So go to your Visual Studio Code. Um, Hold on. This one is not for you. This is Node.js. All right. Okay. So I'm just going to let me enlarge the font. Or I think it's better like this. Okay, so I will click this page. I'll click this part so I can um create a new folder. So I'll just do this new folder. I'll call this class 5, and I'll create a new file inside of class 5. Let's start with, okay, I think we should start with box model. So I'll just do this box model dot html. Yeah, so let me remove all of this. All right, so I'll generate my html boilerplate. I'm going to change the title from document to CSX box model. CSS box model. So let's use this. I'll just do div. I'll do div dot container. Okay, div dot container. Now give it the content. I'll give it box model. CSS box model. Yeah. So I'm going to have a style tag here. Um, I'll call this dot container. and I'll give this. Let me give it a width of 300 pixel. Hold on. So I'll give it a width of 300 pixel and the height of, let's say, 300 pixel. So if we save this and we open it in our browser using the live server. Of course, you are seeing box model here, but you can't see the boundary of the div element. So for us to be able to see the boundary, I just need to give it a border. So I'll give it a border of 2 pixel, solid, and red. So all of these we are going to be looking at that today. We're going to look at all of this today. So all this shorthand for border and all of this. So look at, can see you're having this background. So this will lead me to the box model. Yeah, understanding box model. That's margin, border, padding, and content. Understanding the box model, margin, padding, border, and content. So here it says that the box model is a fundamental concept in CSS. Please take note of that. Box model is a fundamental concept in CSS that describes how elements are structured and interact with other elements in a web page. Every element on a web page is a rectangular box, and the box model determines its dimensions and spacing. Dimensions and spacing. For better understanding, I have another note here. So here it says this is also box model. Here in this context, it says that the most important point to understand about CSS is this: everything is a box. More specifically, every element in a document generates a box. So your HTML element, every element in your HTML document generates what? A box, whether you know it or not. It generates a box. So this box may be a block level box or it may be an inline level box. So please take note because this is very, very important. It's one of the fundamental concept of CSS because after you understand CSS selector, the next thing you need to understand very well is box model. So here it says everything is treated as what? A box. So every HTML element in your document or every HTML element generates a box. So the box can either be a block level box or it can either be an inline level box. So the CSS box model is a concept used to describe the layout and sizing of HTML element. Each element contains a box for its content, a box for padding, a box for border, and a box for margin. The boxes combine to determine an element's layout of content as well as how adjacent elements appear alongside it. So this is the essence of what box model. So let's look at what it means when it says that everything is in a box, that every element in the document generates a box. So let's look at this. So let me comment this width and height. Let me comment these three properties here. I come here, look at what we have here. So this is the content of the div. Yeah, this is the content of the div. We have a content here, CSS box model. So if I use my pesticide, I click on my pesticide, look at it's generating a box. So with the help of the pesticide, you will see. So now you see this div now is a box, it's a rectangular box. So apparently div is a block level element. So the box is what a block level box. So since we haven't defined a definite width and height to the div element, so the div assumes the width of the browser's viewport and the height that accommodates its content, that fits its content. But we can set it, we can explicitly set the width and height of our container of the div by giving it a fixed width of 300 pixel and a height of 300 pixel. And if you look at this now, look at what we have. Can you see we have a fixed width and a fixed height? So this is it. All right, so let's move on. Let's proceed. So there are four elements or four boxes in a box model: the margin box, the border box, the padding box, and the what? The content box. And for you to be able to see a a there's also, if you like preview this web page now, this HTML document with a live server, it will generate a box model in your browser. Whichever browser you're using is going to generate a box model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click anywhere here. I'm just going to right click on my browser. Then you will see something like inspect. So you click on inspect. So here under inspect, this under the element, you will see, okay, let me drag this up here. Let me zoom it so you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah. So I'm going to drag this up. Yeah. Okay, let me zoom it down a bit. All right. So look at what we have. So we have a box model. Yeah. So you can see margin, border, padding, and the content area. So we have the content area, we have the padding area, we have the border area, and we have the what? Margin area. So let me bring this down a bit. Okay. So I will come to this body tag here, this body, I'll click on it. So the one we are interested in, we want to get the box model for the container. So I'm just going to click on this div here that has a class of containers. I'll click on it. So it's going to bring out the what will I call it now? It's going to bring out the box model of this div. So now look at what we have here. If I hover on this div, this box model, outside, look at the margin has no value on all sides. You can see it's giving you this dash, 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 dash here. So if I hover on the border is giving us a value of 1.6. I guess that should be more than that because we gave it a value of 2 pixel. Anyways, let's move on. So we have 1.6. I don't know why it's so. Then if I over on the content area, can you see? Look at the content area. Look at the content area. It's having what a width of 300 pixel and a height of 300 pixel. So now what's the meaning of padding? What's the meaning of border? And what's the meaning of what? Margin? So let's look at it together. So here, the components of the box model, we have the content, the padding, the border, and the margin. So for the content, it means the innermost part of the box where text, images, or other content is placed. So the content component of a box model is the innermost part of the box where text, images, or other content is what? Placed. So the content controls is controlled by properties like width and height. So it is controlled by properties like width and height. So if you go back to the browser, look at this is the content area. This is the content area. All right, so let's move on to the padding. Padding is the space between the content and the border. So padding is the space between the content and what? The border. And padding adds spacing inside the box, making the box to what? Enlarge. So the essence of padding is to increase the content, is to increase the element. So by adding space between the content and what? The border. So once you add a padding value to an HTML element, what happens is that it enlarges the element. It makes it bigger. It makes it bigger than its normal width and height. So padding is the space between the content and the border. So look at it. Is the space between the content and the border. So this is the content, and this is the border area where you have this dash line here, this dash line here. So in between the border, which represent the boundary of the element, that's the boundary of the element. So in between the border and the content is what? Padding. But since that there's no padding value here, you can see it has dash here. So there's no padding value here. So we are going to add it together. So I'll come to my Visual Studio Code and I'll do this. So when you are adding padding, the box comprised of four sides. You have the top, the right, the bottom, and the left. Top, right, bottom, and left. That should be like I guess it's clockwise. Yes, I think it's clockwise. Top, right, bottom, and left. So if we are to add padding, you have to specify which side of the box you want to add padding to. Do you want to add padding to all the sides, like the padding top, padding right, padding bottom, and padding left? So let's do that together. So I'm going to do padding top. I will give it like 40 pixel. I'll also do padding bottom. I'll do 40 pixel. I'll also do padding. Okay, let me start. Okay, let me do it clockwise. So padding top, padding right. Then we also have padding bottom. Let's do 40 pixel and padding left. Okay, no, padding left. Padding left. Let's do 40 pixels. So it means that we are going to add 40 pixel space on all the sides of the element. 40 pixel space. So if you over on this now, see it's going to be bigger. Can you see? It's now bigger. See that now? Big. It's bigger than the normal size. So if I over on it, if I over on the content, now watch. If I over the content area, you will see something. The content area is still 300 by what? 300. But now we've added what? A padding value. We've added a padding value. And the padding value we add to it is 40 pixel on all side. So 40 pixel on all side is like, it means that we've added a 40 pixel space between the content and the border area. So we've add 40 pixel space. So by doing so, it increases or enlarged what? The overall size of the element. So the overall size now of the element is no longer 300 by 300. The overall size will now be the value, the original width, which is 300, plus the padding on the left side and the right side, because if you are calculating width, it addresses the horizontal area. It's the horizontal lane, so, I mean whatever, the row part. So 300, that's the width. Then we have 40 pixel space, padding space on the left, 40 pixel padding space on the right. So that's, if you add it together, that would be 40 plus 40, that makes it 80 pixel. So if you add 80 pixel to the original width value, which is 300, that makes it what, 880 pixel. Then if you also add the border value too, for the left and the right, I think I gave it 2 pixel. So 2 pixel plus 2 pixel, that makes it what, 4. I don't know why I'm seeing 1.6 here. So 2 pixel plus 2 pixel, that makes it 4 pixel. So the overall width now is now 384 pixel, while the overall height is 384 pixel. That's it, 384 pixel. So that's how it is calculated. So you can see how big this element is. Very big. Why? Because of the padding space. And if I hover on the padding, look at the space highlighted on the left side of the browser. I see the space highlighted there. And if I hover on the content area, you can also see the space that the content area is occupying. So if you want to calculate the overall width and height of this element, you have to calculate the content area plus the padding area, and also plus the border area too, because the value of the border, the value of the padding, and the original content area width, if you add them together, will determine the overall width value of the element and the overall height value of what, the element. So that's that. But there's a shorthand to this. Instead of writing padding top, padding right, and what do you call it, padding bottom and padding left, there's a shorthand to this. Let's do it here. Mm, Let me just do CSX box model. CSX box model. All right. So shorthand for padding and margin. So shorthand for padding and margin. Very simple. So if I'm just going to use padding, but it's still applicable to margin too as well. So once we are done with padding, we'll look at margin. So we have this how to do it. So we just do padding. So the first value will be top. You have T R L. Okay, T R B then L. So this represent top, right, bottom, left. So that's um 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 clockwise, if I'm correct, clockwise. So this is a clockwise direction. So instead of writing padding top, padding bottom, padding left, padding whatever, just use this shortcut padding. Then the first value will be top, the second value will be right, the third value will be bottom, and the fourth value will be left. So let's do it together. So that will be 40. Okay, let's do this. Okay, let me use this. So look at, so padding 10 pixel, 20 pixel, 30 pixel, 40 pixel. So if you notice, this 10 pixel represent the top, 20 pixel represent right, 30 pixel represent bottom, and 40 pixel represent what? Left. You see that now? Left. But what if I want, like we're going somewhere, what if I want what if the padding value for bottom and top, they are the same? Take for instance, let's say we have 10 pixel, then 20 pixel, then 10 pixel, then 20 pixel. Now look at this. If you notice, this 10 pixel represent top, 20 pixel is for the right side, while 10 pixel is for the bottom, while 20 pixel is for the left. But if you notice, the top side and the bottom side have the same value, while the right side and the left side have the same value. So the best way to do this is by using, so you just do padding and just do 10 pixel then 20 pixel like this. So once you do something like this, when your padding is having two values, or when you define two values for your padding property in CSS, it means that the first value represent top and bottom, while the second value represent left and right. Left and right. And also, if you have a padding whereby though the top is different, has a different value, the right side has a different value, while the bottom side also have like 30 pixel and the left 20 pixel. So if you notice here, the top value is 10 pixel, the left value, sorry, the right value is 20 pixel, while the bottom value is 30 pixel, while the left is 20 pixel. So apparently the right value and the left value are the same. Two of them are what? The same. So instead of writing it like this, there's a shorthand for that. You can just do something like padding. So the first value represent top, the second value represent top, left and right, while the third value represent bottom. So you see that now. So this is when this you only use this when you know that the left and the right value are the same. So you can do something like this. If you know the left and the right value of the padding are the same, but the top and the bottom are different, so you can do something like this. So you can see, so this 10 pixel represent the top, 20 pixel represent left and right, while 30 pixel represent what? Bottom. But if you have if you have a situation whereby the padding value are the same, like the same, instead of doing this, you can just do something like this. Padding, then just do 10 pixel. So this is what it means here. If your padding property is only having one value, it means that that one value is what we use to define all side of the padding. So this 10 pixel now represent 10 pixel for the top, for the right, for the bottom, and for the what left. Because doing it like this doesn't really make sense. 10 pixel, 10 pixel, 10 pixel, 10 pixel is the same thing. Just do padding, then 10 pixel. It's going to affect all sides. That is if all the sides are having the same value. So you do something like this. But if two sides are having the same value, like top and bottom are having the same value, left and right are having the same value, just do this particular one here, where we have padding 10 pixel, then 20 pixel. But if you know that what do you call it, the top, the left and right will be having the same value, and the bottom and the top will have different value, you can use this one here. Use this one here. But the only time you can make it explicit like this is when all the sides are what? Different. Maybe all the sides have different value. That's when you have to specify it like this. So like the way we did here, 10 pixel, 20 pixel, 30 pixel, 40 pixel. So that's but let's look at it now. So if you notice that we have padding top, padding right, padding bottom, padding left. So all these padding sides here are having the same value. So instead of doing it like this, so the shorthand will help us to write a shorter code. I'll just do padding, then I'll do 40 pixel. So this 40 pixel will apply to all sides. And if I save, I come back here, it still works. Can you see 40 pixel on all sides? That's that. All right, the next one we want to look at is margin. So let's look at margin. Before we look at border, let's look at margin. So margin is the space outside the border that separates the element from its neighbor. So margin is the space outside the border that separates the element from its neighbor. So margin is used to adjust an element, like to shift an element or to move an element, because margin is the space outside of the border. So margin is used to move an element or to shift an element, while padding is used to enlarge an element. You get that now? Because padding is the space between the content and the border, but margin is the space outside of the border which separates the element from its neighbor. So if you want to shift an element or move an element from its neighbor, you have to use what? Margin. So margin helps you to move a box, move an element. So just like we have all of this shorthand for padding, is actually the same thing too for what? Margin. So let me just do padding stroke margin. The same thing too here. Okay, let me be fast with this. The margin. All right, so it's applicable to margin too as well. So let's come here, let's create a space. So I can do something like margin. So let me do 40 pixel. So I want to move the box 40 pixel from the top, and 50 pixel from the left, then 60 pixel from the bottom, then 70 pixel from the left. So that's what it means. So margin. So when you do some, so we have 40 pixel. So we are moving the box 40 pixel from the top. That's the essence. You are moving it 40 pixel from the top, while this is moving the element 50 pixel from the left, while 60 pixels means moving the element 60 pixel from the bottom. So the same thing to the left as well. So notice I notice I was using from, not to. From. You get that now? From. So let's see. Now can you see that now? 40 pixel, 50 pixel, 60 pixel, and what? 70 pixel. See that? If you hover on the 40, this coming. Yeah, if you hover on it, can you see the size? Look at now, 40 pixel from the top, 50 pixel from the right, 60 pixel from the bottom, and 70 pixel from the right. So with this now, you can move element from one place to another, from one place to another, from one place to another. All right. Having said that, now the thing is, one thing I want you to know is that every element, every HTML element has a predefined styling, or has a preset styling. You get? Because if I click on this body tag here now, if I click on this body tag that we have here, if I click on it, can you see what it's giving me here? We are having a margin of 8, but we didn't set body to what? Margin of what? 8. But we're having a what? A margin of 8. So every HTML element, usually, or the block element itself, every block element, HTML element usually come with a certain value of margin and what? Padding. Certain value of margin and padding. So as a web developer, it is your responsibility to what? Reset the margin value and padding value of all HTML elements. Setting it to what? Is 0. You get that now? Setting it to is 0 is very, very important. You want to have your own default styling. You get that now? You want to have your own default styling. So because there's already a custom padding value and margin value that is being given to our block HTML block element. So it's our responsibility as web developer to reset it. So and to reset it, you come to your Visual Studio Code. You can't select all the elements in the body tag and be giving it margin 0, padding 0. No, you can't do that. But there is a selector which is called universal selector. Universal selector. Let me take you to that real quick. Um yes, universal selector. So this universal selector, it targets all elements on the HTML document inside the body tag. So this is the symbol for universal selector, and an asterisk. You see that now? So the universal selector is mostly used to reset the margin and the padding of HTML elements. So can you see that? So whenever I want to reset the margin and the padding of HTML element, we use what? Universal selector. But that's not the only use case of universal selector. But what it is mostly used for is to reset margin and what? Padding of HTML elements. So this universal selector is going to select all the elements in the inside on the HTML document. You're going to select all the elements in the body tag, including the body tag itself. So I'm going to come to the HTML, my Visual Studio Code. So before this container here, this selector here, I'll just come here. I'll do asterisk. So that's universal selector, and like this. So it's going to select all the elements for me. So I'm just going to do something like margin to be what is 0, then padding to be is 0. So if you save that now, we've been able to what? Reset the margin and padding for all our HTML elements. So if you come here, there's a change now. You see that now? There's a change. There's a change. If I click on the body, you can't see any padding or whatever here again. And let me go to the container. Can you see? Everything is working perfectly. And also, that's not all. Let's say you want to center um this container. Apparently the width and the height of the container is 300 pixel by default. Of course, now that we've added a padding value and a border value, it will increase the overall size of what? Of the container. You get that now? So padding value, margin value is not included in the overall width of the container. So margin is just to shift or move an element from its original position to another position. So, all right. Um, let's say I want to center this container. Let me cancel this. Let's say I want to center this container horizontally. I want to center it horizontally. Hold on. So let's say I want to center this container horizontally, because apparently this is not centered properly. It's not even centered at all. So what I'm going to do is let me give this. Okay, before I do that, so for me to be able to center this horizontally, not vertically now, I want to be able to center this horizontally. To do that, I will use margin. So I'm going to give um the right side of the margin auto, and I'll give the left side what? Auto. Auto simply means automatic. So what happens is we allow the browser to center our content or our HTML element to the center horizontally using what? Auto, like this. And if you look at it, is properly centered. But before then, let's say I change this to what is 0, and I change this to 0. So that means no margin value for the left and right. And I save, I come back here. Look at what we have here. Can you see the container is close to the left side? It's even touching the edge of the left side of the browser. So now look at the space that is remaining here on the right side. So this space remaining, I want the browser, because I don't know the value of the space remaining, but I want the browser to get the space that is remaining and divide it equally or evenly to the left and the right side, so that the content can be what? Centered. So that's why we had to give it what? Auto. So I'll come here, I'll do what? Auto, then what? Auto. So you see that now? Auto. So if you save, can you see it is properly what? Centered. But of course, we already have a shorthand for this. And the shorthand is, if the left side and the right side are the same, and but the top and the bottom are not the same. There's a shorthand for this, and that is this one here. Can you see? So this one here. So what am I going to do? I'll just remove this auto, this last auto. So it means that 40 pixel on from the top, auto left and right, 60 pixel from the bottom. You see that now, and we are good to go. Look at, very very simple. So that's that about what margin. And so let's move on. I told you earlier that margin can only be applied to block element. Can only be applied to what? Block what element. Take for instance, if I have a link here and I say hashtag, okay, and I do something like click me, I save, click me and save. Can you see the element here? Click me. So I can't even, so let's see if I'll be able to set a height to that. So I'm just going to select it by its tag name. So I'll do, let's see if I'll be able to set height to a click. So I'll do 200, okay, let's say 100 pixel and a height of 100 pixel. So if you save, let's see what we are going to get. Nothing happened. There's no height value to it. Can you see? Nothing happened. You see that now? Why? Because you can't set height and width value to an inline element. But though not all actually, not all. There are some other inline element that defiles that rule, such as image, such as inbuilt, what do you call it? Impute and all. But link and span, a you can't set a width value or height value to it except you change its display, except you will change its display. So if you want to, because the default display of link is what? Inline. So an inline doesn't start on a new line. They only take the width that is appropriate for their content. And now we are explicitly setting a width value to link, to our link element, and it won't work. Why? Because it's inline. So if we want this to work, we have to change the display from inline to what? To block. I'll change it to block. So once I change it to block now, look at what we have now. Can you see? It's showing. If I hover on it now, can you see that now? It's showing. This is the height, the width, and all that. And with this now, I can center it, because if I don't set it to display block, I will not be able to center it using margin. I will not be able to center it horizontally using margin, because if I do something like margin and I do top and bottom is 0, left and right auto. If I save now, nothing will happen. It won't be centered. But wait until I uncomment these display blocks. If I save now, you see that it will be properly what centered. Can you see? Good. Properly centered. So that's it. And also if I want the link to still maintain, like if I want the link to still be inline but also behave like block, because there's a way I can make the link to maintain its inline display but still behave like block. So behave like block, like be able to use margin to be able to center it, or use margin on it, or and also use what do you call it, width and height. Instead of doing block like this, I can use inline block. So you get that now. I can use what? Inline block. Instead of block, I can use inline block. So if I do something like this, it will still what? Work. Let's see. Um, all right. It's not showing. It's not being centered. Mm. But at least with the inline block, I can apply width and height to it. And that's what we have here. Can you see the width and height? If I do this now, look at what we have here. Width and height. All right, good. So let me change it back to block. So if I save, now we are good to go. All right, that's that. I can clear it now. Clear this. So let's look at border. Let's look at border. Let's look at border. So we've looked at padding, we've looked at margin, we've looked at content area. Then let's look at border. So border is a line surrounding the padding or content if padding is not set. So it's a line surrounding the padding or content if padding is not set. So we have different border properties. We have border width, we have border style, and we have border color. So let's go straight. So if I come to my, so here where we have border, yeah, I'm just going to remove this. So let's start from scratch. So I'll do border. So since I want to define a border, so I have to specify, do is it I can give. No, since we are looking at border property now, we have border sides such as the top, the left, the right, and the bottom. So I can set a border side and give it a different color. So I can have a different style for each side of my border. So if I do border top, for instance, now, so this border, okay, let's start from here. I can do border top width. Look at now, border top width. Let me say, so border top width simply means the thickness of the border. The thickness of the border. You get that now? The thickness of the border. So I can give it something like 5 pixel. Then I say, okay, since I've defined the border top width, let me also define the border top width color. Top width color. So I can give it blue, for instance. Then aside from that, I need to also define the border top style. The style lies the how it should look like, how the border should what look like. So we have different type here, we have different value here. We have dashed, we have dotted, we have double, we have groove, we have inset, outset, ridge, solid, and all. So let me start with solid. So I'll do solid here. So you can see we've defined the border top width, the border top color, and the border top style. So if you save this now and you come here, look at what we have here. Can you see the border top? Border top. So let's do the same thing too for the border left or border right. So I'll do border right width. I will give it still 5 pixel. Then border right color, I'll give it red. Then border right style. So instead of solid this time around, I'll make it dashed. So if I do dashed now, look at what we have. And we can continue like that. Continue like that. But this is stressful because there's also a shorthand for that. There's a shorthand for that. Shorthand for border. So let's look at for border. There's a shorthand for that. So that will just be first the border side. So it could be border top, border left, border bottom, and all that. So the border side followed by border. So we'll do border width, space, border color, and border style. It doesn't have to be in any particular order. The browser understands. So this is the shorthand. You get that now. So instead of doing border top width, border top color, border top style, just let me comment this. I'll delete it later. So just do something like this, border top like this. So here you now define the border width. So you can give it something like 5 pixel. Then define the color or the style. You can do solid, then what? Blue like this. So this 5 pixel represent border top width or border width. This one represent border style, while this represent border color. So I think I can remove this successfully now. Yeah. So if I save, it will still give me what? The same thing. You see that now? So the same thing too goes to border right, and you give it dashed. So you can play around with the styling. Sorry, the styles of the border. So you can play around with it. We have solid, we have dashed, we have dotted, we have double, We have many, so you can play around with it just for you to perfectly understand it. But there's no time. Let's move on. So instead of doing this, this is when you want to style each side of the border differently. So that's when you do border top, border right. But if you want all the side of the border to have the same styling or the same, the same border width, border color, and border style, you can just you can remove it. So let me comment this part. So, so if you want all the sides of the border to have the same styling, just do border, and I can do 2 pixel solid then red. So if I save now, it's going to affect all sides. Can you see? We are good to go. So that's that about box model. But there's still one thing, which is what do you call it, box sizing. We'll look at or let's just treat that. Yes, let's treat that. So box sizing. Yeah, it says in CSS, box sizing is a property that controls how the total width and height of an element are calculated. So the two main value for these properties are content box and border box. They affect the way the width and height of an element are calculated, particularly when padding and borders are what added. So under box sizing property, we have two value. We have content box and we have border box. And the essence of this content box and border box is to control how the total width and height of an element are what calculated. So by default, the value of box sizing is what content box. You get that now? The value of box sizing is content box by default. By default. So for the content box, it says when box sizing is set to content box or when box sizing content box is applied, which is the default behavior of or for most element, the width and the height you specify for an element only applies to the content area of the box, excluding the padding and the border. This means the final total width and height of the element will be the sum of the content, padding, and what border. Please take note. So that's that about content box. It is applied is applied for most element. So here you see that the width and the height you specify for an element only applies to the content area. So let's see how true is that. So if I right click on this and I inspect, come to the let's click on the div here, the div with the class of container. So if I over on the content area, look at the width and the height that I set or specify for the element only affects the content area. Look at it here now. It only affects the content area. So that means if I'm to calculate the overall or the final total width and height of this element, I'll have to capture the content area plus the padding and the what border. So that's what it's saying. The padding and the what border. So this is how it looks like. The formula now will be total width will be equals to content width plus padding left plus padding right plus border left plus border right. We've looked at this. That's for content box. Then for the height, content height plus padding top, padding bottom, border top, border bottom. So that we can be able to get the total width and height of an element. You get that now? When the box sizing is set to content box, and that's the default value actually. So let's look at what do you call it now? Let's look at box and border box. So when box sizing border box is applied, the width and the height you specify for an element includes the padding and the border. So this means that the padding and the border are subtracted from the total width and height. So the specified size applies to the entire box. So the specified size applies to the entire box, which is the content, the padding, and the border. So border box is the opposite of content box, because content box, if you have to calculate the overall width and the height of the content box, you have to calculate the padding value and the border value. But in the case of border box, the width and the height you specify for an element will also include the padding and the border. So that means that the padding and the border are subtracted from the total width and height. So if I come here, just watch, look at this now. If you notice, the total width of this and the total height of this is different from the content width and height, because of the padding value and the border value, which actually makes this box what to enlarge itself. So now let me change this container to box sizing. Let me change it to border box. Now watch, if I change it to border box, you'll notice something here. Just wait. Can you see? It's still its original size. Let me click on the div now. Can you see that now? Its original size, still the 300 pixel, 300 by 300 pixel, 300 by 300 pixel width and height. But we added padding now, and we added border. So the padding value and the border value is subtracted from the width and the height, such that the content area will now be smaller. The content area will be smaller to accommodate the value of the padding and border, so that when you calculate the total width and height, it will still be the same width and height that you set for the element initially. You get that now? So that's the essence of border box, and you will see the difference between them. Like, you might be wondering, which one should I use? The best one to use is what? Border box. Because if we look at the difference, the key difference, yeah, it says that the key difference is, um let me see. Okay, which one to use? Border box is generally preferred in modern web development because it simplifies layout calculation. It ensures that when you set a width or height on an element, it remains exactly as specified, no matter what padding or border is added. This is especially helpful when creating responsive layouts or using elements with borders and what? Padding. So it is good you use what? Border box. If you still want to have your if you still want to have the exact height and width of the element, regardless of the padding and the border that is added to it. So all right, so let's move on. Now that we've looked at box model in totality, let's see how we'll be able to build this particular website, and also this web page, sorry, and this other one too, this one here, then we'll call it a day. All right, let me send you a new link. All right, so I guess we can proceed with this project. Can proceed with this. So let's see how we can build this. So just come online, come to your browser, search for Black Goose, Black Goose Bistro. So you're going to see this. Okay, this one here. So this is what we want to build, and that's what we have here. So how do we get the image? Let's see. So I'm going to open a new tab. Let me just do um blast. So I'm just going to search for Black Goose Bistro logo. So we have this. I think I want the PNG one. So I'll just search out add PNG. Which one should I use? Let me use this one. So if you click on it, so I'm going to right click and I will save as I'll save as okay. I think I'll use the default name, that's Black Goose PNG. So I'll save it. So let's see if truly it is let's see if it is PNG. So I'm going to uh, all right, I think this is PNG. But in the event yours is not PNG, you are seeing a background, like you could see like a background image there, like a background color instead of, if you are seeing like a background color, you want to remove the background color from the image, you can open a new tab, search for, just type remove.bg, just type remove.bg, type it, press enter. It's going to take you to this website. This remove.bg actually helps you to remove image background. So in the event that the Black Goose Bistro logo you are downloading has an image background, so just in order for you to remove the background, just come to this website. So the logo, the image you download, just click on upload image. So you go to your desktop, sorry, your downloads, click on glass, I say glass, Black Goose, and then click on it and open. So it's going to um remove the background, then yours is just to download. So download and you are good to go. So that's that. So come to your Visual Studio Code in class 5 folder, right click, open a new file, call it um black goose.html. So let's do the CSS for it. So I'll click on the new file and I'll do black goose.css. All right, we are good to go. So I'm just going to generate HTML boilerplate. I'm going to give this black goose bistro page, and I'm also going to link my CSS. So I'll do link CSS. So apparently the href value is different from the name of my CSS, so I'm just going to change it from style to black, yeah, to this one here. So we are good to go. So let's see if truly it's working. I'll just do body and I'll do this background color red. If I do background color red, so let's open this on our, let's open the HTML file on our browser. So can you see? Apparently everything is working perfectly. Good. So now let's look at something. Let's go to this part here. From what we have here, um, I think the body, we need to give the body a background color. We need to give the body a background color. So before we do that, let's analyze this, because in building websites, you have to, if you are cloning a website or a web page, you have to analyze the structure very well. You have to analyze it. So apparently, if you notice, all of this content, they are in a container, a block level container. So that block level so all of the content are in a block level container. So the container is given a definite width. So the container is centered to the is centered yes, let me use that word. The container is centered. So that means we have a container that is holding all of these elements here. So what am I going to do? I will create a container. It could be a div, section, or whatever. So let me just give it let's just say div or section, whichever one that you feel like, or let me just do main, anyone, actually anyone. So let's use div. So I'll call this div, I'll call this container. Yes, inside of this I'm going to have two parts. The container is going to have two parts. So there's a part that is going to hold the logo and its title, and there's another part that is going to hold its content. So I'm just going to come here, I'll do something like header, so I can use semantic tag here. I'll do header, then here I'll do section. You get that now? Section. So this header, I need to use the I need to bring the image into this folder. So I'll come here, yeah, click on this, copy, then go to my desktop, class 5, then paste it there. I think I already, okay, no, I don't have it. So I paste it there. So come here, can you see? It's showing here. So I'm just going to do this image. So I'll do, of course, I'm sure you know this already, so I'll need to be fast with this. So I just call it Black Goose Bistro. Then the next one is going to be like an H2. So the H2 is going to have Black Goose Bistro. So let's call it, we can call it H2. And we can give it, it can be H2 or even paragraph, whichever one. So let me use paragraph. So what's there? Black Goose Bistro. So I'll just do Black Goose Bistro. So when we get to CSS, we'll transform the text. So after that, okay, let's style this one after the other. Let's style this one after the other. So if you come here, let's see the um, font that was used. I don't think that also is necessary. Mhm. Hold on. All right. So first of all, when we go to in styling this, we'll go to our browser. Sorry, the style.css. The blackgoose.css. You know, I told you that before you start styling, you need to reset the margin and the padding of your HTML element. And to do that, you need what we call the universal selector. So you just do margin to be what is 0, and padding to be what is 0. Then also box sizing for all of your HTML elements. You want to set it to what border box. So this is the default. So don't forget this. Then the next one will be the body. You want to set the body, the color of the body to, so let me use this extension here. It is called color picker eyedropper. You can look for it. So let me use this. So yeah, I'll just do background color hashtag, then this. So if I save, let's see what we have here. That should be, yeah, no, 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 is it this one? No, no. Oh, my bad. Okay, let me even use the opportunity to copy all the um or there will not be need for that. Okay, the this line here, I'll need this too. So what I copied was the logo itself, like sorry, the image itself. So I don't need the image. I don't need the image. Let me go back to downloads. I want yes, this one. This is the one I'm interested in. So come to this part, then paste. So go back to Visual Studio Code, your HTML. So I'm just going to change this to this one here. So if I save now, voila, look at what we have. See that now? So I'm going to so I'll come to the header. That's what we have here. So apparently I'll have to give the container a particular container. So the container div is the one that is holding all of the content. So I'm going to give it a width of, let's say, 800 pixel. So we give it a width of 800 pixel. So we've defined the width like that. So set the width of the container to 800 pixel. Then we'll do margin. So let's do margin. Let me do something like 40 pixel, then auto to center the container. So look at what we have. Can you see it's properly centered? If you hover on it, you see it is what? Centered. All right, so let's target the image. So I'm just going to select the header. So I'll do header. So I'm targeting the image here. So of course you still remember the selector now. This is a descendant selector. So I'm going to give it a width. Or should I maintain the width that we have here? But this is too big. Let's just give it let's say um, let me give it 100 pixel and the height of also 100 pixel. So let's see. I think it's better like this. So it's better like this. I think it's sharp like this. So let's move on. Um so this is what we have. I think this is okay. And can do this because if I do margin, let's say zero and auto. Let's see if it's going to work. Can you see it's not working? Though we've set the width and the height of the image to what 100 pixel, 100 pixel, but it is not working. The reason why it's not working is because image also is an inline element. Image is an inline element. So to make this auto work, to center the image on the left and the right side, I'll have to change the display from inline to what block. So if I do block for instance now, look at it's going to what? It's going to work. Can you see it's properly centered? Then also for the paragraph, I'm just going to do something here. I will select the header, then p tag. So it means I'm selecting the p tag from the header. So this one is descendant selector. I already taught you that. So if you don't understand that, go to the last, check the fourth class video. Um, so I'm just going to do text align to be center. So it's going to be properly centered. Can you see? Good. I need to also increase the font size. So let me give you the font size of 30 pixel. Let's see that. I think it's okay. Then let's give it text transform to be to be uppercase. Let's see. Good. But it's like the paragraph and the image are too close together. You get that now? The paragraph and the image are too close. Because what we have here, there's a little bit space between the paragraph and the image. But in our own, we have the image and the paragraph are they are too close. So we need to create a distance between the paragraph and the image. So to do that, we'll use a component, one of the components of the box model, which is what margin. So I'll come to the paragraph, I'll do margin top. So I want it to be what? Let's say 20 pixel. So it's going to move the paragraph text 20 pixel away from the top. So if I save that now, can you see it's better? Let me remove the pesticide. Can you see it's good? But I think it's too much. Let me make it 10 pixel. So I do 10 pixel now, fine, it's okay. And notice this part here, I think it has what do you call it? It has a line here, an horizontal line. It has an horizontal line. So this horizontal line, we can achieve that using what? Border line. Sorry, border bottom. So I can come here. Um, I'll just do. So I think I'm going to select the header because the header is the element tag that is holding the image and the paragraph. So the best place to set the border bottom is the header. So I'm just going to come here. I'll say, okay, border bottom. I'll do something like 1 pixel solid, and the color should be C something. I hope I'm correct. Hold on. Let me get the color here. Yes. So that will be C. So if you come here, look at what we have. It's showing, but it's not. Let me make it 2 pixel. The width is too thin. Okay, I think it's better like this. Or I can increase this color. Let me increase the color a bit. So let's see. I think it's okay. If you don't like it, you can come here and increase the color. Yeah, I think it's fine like this. So can you see? So we have a padding, a border bottom here, and that's what we have here. See, nice, looking good. So we are done for this part here, and I don't think we still need. Let's just maintain the fonts, or should we change it? So let me just come to the body. Let's do font family. Um, which one should we use now? Let's say Georgia. Okay, this is nice. I think I like this. So we use this font family Georgia. So we are good to go. We are done with this first part. So let's look at the second part. So let's go to the HTML, come to the section. So let's see what we have. Okay, we have H2. So I'm going to do okay H3. Let me make it H3. H3. So this is the restaurant, and we also have a paragraph. So in order for me to be able to um am I going to put it because to copy this, to get this text now, I'll have to come to the browser and look for the text here. Let's see, let me visit one of these websites. Let's look for the text. Okay, so I'm just going to copy all of this. It can't be copied though. This is not nice now. Let's look for that one. Well, in order to not to waste our time, let's just use a dummy text. So let's use a dummy text. So for the paragraph, I'm going to use a dummy text. I'll just do lorem 15. So it's going to generate 15 words for me. Then I'll do another H3. So this time around is going to be called catering services. Catering services. Now do another paragraph. I'll do lorem 15 as well. Then the next one will be H3. We'll give it location and hour. Location and hour. So let's see. All right. So um, just also going to use a paragraph here, and I'll do lorem 15 or lorem 10. Yes, lorem 10. Let's just do something simple. So if you save, you come here, look at what we have. Fantastic. Very good. So if you notice the content is too close to the border bottom of the header. So let's create a space between the header and the section. So to do that, um I'm going to, so this is the section here. I'll come here, I'll select this section. I'll just do section. Let me give it a margin top of, let's say, 20 pixel. Let's see what we have. I think it's better. Then also the href, I say href, the h3 and the paragraph, that are also too close to each other. So I'm also going to do something like h3. So since it's the only h3 we have, I'm just going to do something like margin bottom. I need to create a space. So margin bottom, let me do 10 pixel. If I do that, let's see. I think it's nice. Or instead of doing that for the bottom, let me do for paragraph. So I'll just say section paragraph. Section paragraph. You know we have paragraph in the header. So let's be specific. So I'll just do a margin like this, and I'll do 10 pixel top and bottom is 0 left and right. So 10 pixel top and bottom. See, I think this is nice. So we need to give this a color. So let's look for a nice color here. Let me use this. I'm going to give the H. So I'll say section H3. Let me give it a color of this. Um, let's see. All right, good. This is nice. So I think we've come to the end of this project. See that? Very, very, very simple. Very, very simple. So with knowledge we've gathered so far on HTML and CSS, see, we've been able to do something like this. Something like this. You get that now? So let's look at the next one. Let's see if we can be able to build this within the time frame that we have. All right. Mm, Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to also open a new, I'll create a new file here. I'll call it table.html, and now .html, not HTML. .html. I'll also create a CSS file. I'll call it table.css. All right, table.css. So come to the table, generate border plate. So I'll do this table web page. So I'll be a bit fast this period. So I'll do this so you can type along when you are watching the video later. All right, so let me go to the downloads where we have the table, copy, go to my desktop, and paste it there. What's this? Paste it there. So I'm just going to do something like an image here. I've not started, but I want to be able to get the colors for the table. So if I save, open with live server, let me get the colors for the table. It's not showing. I hope I'm correct here. Mm. Oh, .html. Oh, Joshua. What am I doing? So let me copy this. This will be for the background. Let me just come here. Background. So the next one will be okay. This will be for uh th, I guess. Then the next one will be this td. Yeah, and let's look at the color. This will be the color. Color. All right, we are good to go. So let me remove this. Yep, 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 yep. So clear this. Yeah. So my table web page, everything is clear, so it's very blank. So I'm just going to come to the table CSS. I'll do so by the time we start, you see, you will get used to this now. You see, every time I want to create a website, this is the first thing we do for the CSS. You see that now. You will get used to it as fast as possible. So let's go for the body. Mm, for the body, let's give it a background color of this. If you save, so this is what we have. Did I? Let me Control Z. Let me see if I can get the font. What is that? Did I delete it? Did I delete it? Hold on. So it is New Time Roman. That's the color. So I'm just that's the font family. I will do font family New Time Roman. Yeah, good. So what do we need? Let's look at our table. Um, ID, first name, and designation. So I'm just gonna clear this. So I'll do a table. Then I'll have a row. So the row is going to have th. How many th do we have here? Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll come and do th times 6. So we have id. What is this? Id. The next one will be first name and designation. First name and designation. Designation. The other one will be gender, salary, and alive. Wow. Gender, salary, and alive. All right, good. So we'll have the next table row. That will be the TD, so times 6. Um, so that would be Henry one, Henry, web designer, and what again? Mail. Then you have RS 3000, 30,000, whatever. Okay. Then yes. So I'll copy this and duplicate how many times? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Seven times. So that would be one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, seven. Yes. So let's do this. Let's create a space. So I'll do table data cell, table data cell one. Copy this. Two, three, four, five, six, seven, and eight. Good. So what do we need to do here? Joe Rosie Taylor. Joe Joe Rosie then Taylor. So let's see which one. Berry Catalin. Berry Catalin. Then Sigon Batshan. Sigon. So I won't VAT. I'm coming. Vatshan. So I won't do the rest. I'll just keep the rest as default. So if I save, look at what we have. So this is what we have by default. So let's see how we can make it look like this. Let's see how we can make it look like this. So first and foremost, I'll go to my style.css. I will come to the table. I will give it a width of, let's say, 800 pixel and a margin of, let's to use 40 pixel, then auto. So let's save. Good. Look at what we have here. I think it's nice. It's getting better. So I'm going to change the ID from one. Okay, this one is 8. This will be 7. This will be 6. This will be 5, 4, 3, 2. So let's see. Can you see? Nice. Very good. And I think male, male, female, female, male, male, was it male, male, and female, female, then male. Of course, there'll be recording. That be recording. It's recorded like this. So what other thing? Male, male, female, female, male. Then female, male, male. I guess. Male and female, male, male. So if you save, we're good to go. So you can change the rest yourself. So I'm just gonna give it. So let's style this from what we have here. The headers, the th is having a different color. So I'll come here to my CSS. I'll do th. I will give it a color of this. I'll give this color, copy and paste it here. So if you save, look at what we have. Nice. Don't like, let me increase it a bit so that the color can be bright. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think it is, we need to use it because if you notice the th, if you use the pesticide, the th has a table header, it is centered. The text align is what centered, but want to change it from center to what text align to be what left. If you change it to left, now look at what we have. Good, better. It's looking like this now. See that now? It's looking like this. So that's that. Then aside from the table header, then the table data cell, the color, I'm going to give color of what white. So if you save that now, look at what we have. Good. I think it's nice. So if you over on it, we need to give we need to give the table header and also the table data a padding because there's no space between within its content. So let me give it a padding space. So this is what I'm going to do. Since I want to give it the same padding value for both th and td, so instead of doing it separately, I'm going to use the best practice is to use grouping selector. So I'll do padding and I'll give it 10 pixel. So watch what we have now. Can you see? Fantastic. It's getting better. See that now? It's getting better. So the next thing we want to look at is to give the th a color or a background color. So I'll do background color. So background color. So let me use this. Paste it here and save. Now can you see? It's better now. But if you notice here, you can see like a border, like a space between the TDs. Look at the space between the TDs. The space like a border space. It's called border spacing. So you can see that border spacing, and we don't want that. So in order for us to remove that, let me show you. You come to the body, you come to the table tag. You do border spacing. It's called border spacing. If you do border spacing, let's say you give it 30 pixel, for example. If you do 30 pixel, you will see the spacing now. Can you see the border spacing is now wider? But I don't want border spacing at all. So I'll do what's it called again? Border spacing. I'll do okay, not border spacing. It is called border collapse. Sorry. So I'll call this. So I want the border to collapse instead of spacing it out. So I'll say border collapse. So I'll call it collapse instead of separated. Collapse. So if you save now, it's going to be collapsed. Can you see now? Fantastic. This is nice. You see that now? Fantastic. All right. So the next thing we need to look at is how we can be able to how can we set, because if you look at the color for this second row is different from the third row. So how can we do it? Should we now start giving each role um a different background, a different class value or whatever? So how can we be able to achieve this? So let's move on. So this is what I'm going to do. This will lead me to what we call pseudo class selector. Yes, pseudo class selector, because um I want to be able to give, because this table row, this other rows here, the one table row one, table row two, and down to table row eight, they are having different background color. The background color of table row one is different from the background color of table row two. So it's like table row one, three, five, and seven. They're having the same background color. While for two, four, 6 and 8, they're having the same background color. So what can we do? So now this is what I'm going to do. So I'll select the table row. Then there's what we call end child. There's what we call end child. It's a pseudo class selector. So this end child will actually help me to be able to target the child of the table of the row that I want to select, because we have like we have, where is it now? We have eight rows aside from the row that is holding the table header. We have eight rows here that is holding the table data. So these eight rows, I want to be able to select them dynamically. Let's say, for example, I want to select all the even rows, like even numbers. So if I do something like end child and I do even, I think so, like this, is it even, or and I do a background color of let me come here. Um, let's see this. Let me use this one. If I copy, I paste here. So I do background color and I do this. So let's see what we are going to get here. So can you see? Look at what we have here now. So even, so when I did tr end child even, so it's going to start selecting from the second element. So apparently the tr is is going to affect, how am I going to put it, all the trs that we have in the table element, because apparently we have 90 trs. So the first tr that is holding the table, the table header, and the second t sorry, the first tr that is holding the table header, and the other trs that is holding the table data cell. So altogether we have 90 trs. So if you look at this part here now, notice here, I think from the first tr, this one here that is holding the table data, followed by the second, the third. Can you see? You can see the order. It's like in a odd number. So this is one, two, three, four, five. You see that now? It's like a odd number. So if I want to do this now, I can say, okay, I want, I can do odd like this. Then I want this color here. I'll copy and I'll paste it here. If you save, look at what we have. Can you see? It's the same thing as this. You see that now? Can you see that now? So when I do TRN child, then odd. Odd numbers are numbers that when you divide by two, we give you a remainder. So odd numbers are like 1, 3, 5, and all that. So if you look at this now, this is the first row, the third row, the fifth row, the sixth row, and the seventh. no, The first row, the third row, the fifth row, the seventh row, and the ninth what row. So we'll do the same thing too. I'm going to copy this and I'll do it for even. So I'll just say even and I'll do a background color so I can have this other background color for the even. So I'll do a background color of, let me copy this. If you copy and you paste it here, where is it? Okay, you do this, paste it here. If you save, now look at, good. You see that now? Fantastic. Looking exactly like this. And that's what we have here. Fantastic. So you can see how we're able to distribute the background color using the knowledge of what odd numbers and what even numbers. So apparently we have 9 rows here. The first row is holding the table header, while the remaining rows are holding what the table data. So we have 9 rows altogether. So if we want to target the odd number row, the row that falls under odd number, so it's going to be this first row, followed by the third row, the fifth row, the seventh row, and the ninth row. So we do that using what this end child there. So we can select odd numbers, can select the table row based on their position in am I which in, what am I going to use now? In a odd position. Yes, let me use that word for the sake of want of words. So I believe you understand what I'm actually talking about here. So that's that. So we do TR, then double column end child. So I'm going to explain in details, probably in the sixth class, pseudo, um, what do you call it, pseudo class selector. I'm going to explain that in details before we look at position, transition, and transform. Before we look at that, I'm going to explain pseudo class selector in details. So please, I hope this video has been helpful to you to understand HTML and CSS. So if you are watching this video on YouTube later, as in if you are new to my YouTube channel and you're watching this video or you come across this video, please do well to subscribe, comment, and like the video. Thank you. So we've come to the end of today's class, and we've been able to build these two projects here with the knowledge that we already have in HTML and CSS. So um, I think that's all. We'll meet in our next class. So I'll communicate to you when we are going to be having our next class. I'll communicate to you on the group. So until then, do enjoy your Xmas um, holiday. All right. Bye bye.